The Power Rangers franchise has lasted for over 20 years and is still pressing on to this day. However, the series that it got most of its combat footage from, Super Sentai, has been on the air for over 35 years. There exists a lot of characters that many American children have never even seen before. This video aims to inform you of, and pay respect to, the Rangers that came before Mighty Morphin. Folks, this is Before Zordon. When the terrorist organization, the Black Cross Army, threatens the world, 5 surviving soldiers of their attacks come together to fight back. They are Himitsu Sentai, Goranger! This show laid out the formula of at least 5 multicolored superheroes fighting monsters with vehicles, gadgets, and of course, martial arts. This show paved the way for many Sentai shows to come. Also, you should buy their toys. 5 youths voluntarily became cyborgs to keep the mafia organization, simply known as crime, from gaining power. They are J.A.K.Q, whatever, Denjiman, J.A.K.Q, whatever, was the first to feature a team-operated cannon and to feature a team-up with its predecessors. This is the only Super Sentai to be cancelled due to low ratings. 4 young agents and FBI investigator Diane Martin fight against the evil forces of Agos by donning power suits and piloting a giant robot. They are Battle Fever J. This is the first Sentai to be copyrighted by Marvel, but the only one to receive any involvement from them. Most notably, however, is that this is the first Super Sentai to have a giant robot, an idea carried over from the Japanese Spider-Man TV show. Having a giant robot on the team became an essential element for future Sentai shows. This was also the first Sentai to feature Super Sentai veteran actress Machiko Soga as Death Mask Monster. This actress went on to play as Bandora in Zoranger, who some of you may recognize as Rita Repulsa from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. After the planet Denjistar was devastated by the evil forces of the Vader clan, a robotic talking dog recruited 5 young people to protect the Earth from befalling the same fate. They are Denshi Sentai, Denjiman! This Sentai was the first to have lens visors on the helmets rather than opaque ones with holes drilled in them. This was also the first to have a transforming giant robot and a personal transformation device for each member of the team. Before Denjiman, they didn't use transformation devices. When the Machine Empire Black Magma threatened the Earth Peace Defense Squad hired 3 specialists in land, sea, and air to form Taiyo Sentai, SunVulcan! This is the last Sentai to be copyrighted by Marvel, as well as the only one to serve as a direct sequel to its predecessor. SunVulcan was also the bearer of the very first combining robot in the Sentai series. Not only did this Sentai team only have 3 members, but it was the first to be all-male. This upset a lot of people, so Toei, the studio that makes Super Sentai, never did this again. The Dark Science Empire Death Dark, who had been responsible for the fall of many civilizations, had plans set to conquer Earth. In response to this, Dr. Hideki Hongo drafted 5 ordinary people to become Dai Sentai, Goggle 5! Goggle 5 started the trend of the team shouting the team name in the title card. When the Jashinka Empire rised from the depths of the Earth to conquer the world, 5 laboratory scientists were formed to become Kagaku Sentai, Dynaman! This series introduced the usage of the spandex costumes we came to know and love. Also, this was originally going to be a baseball Sentai called V-Leaguer. Long ago, the giant robot Bio-Robo showered 5 humans with bioparticles, granting them superhuman abilities. In present day, the new Empire gear started taking over the world. The descendants of the bioparticle-showered humans must use their inherited abilities to protect the Earth as Shodenshi, Bioman! This was the first Sentai to have 2 female Rangers, it started the trend of having a female Yellow Ranger, and it was the last Sentai to have a team member killed off and replaced mid-season. This was happening since the beginning. After showing great determination, 5 recruited soldiers were granted the powers of 5 mythological creatures and the technology of the military in order to combat the threat of the Great Star League Gozma. This team from then on was known as Dengeki Sentai Changeman! This series had no significant impact. In 1966, 5 children were kidnapped by the reconstructive experiment Empire Mess for the sake of experimentation. After being rescued by the aliens of the Flash solar system, the children were taken to 5 separate planets in order to train themselves to become superpowered. 20 years later, the Empire Mess started targeting Earth. The children, now grown up, returned to Earth to protect it against the Empire Mess, as well as reunite themselves with their birth parents. They became Choshinsei Flashman! This series was the first to have a second giant robot for the team to use, and you know what that means? More toys! When the Underground Empire 2 set to terraform the planet, 5 young martial artists used their aura abilities to fight back as Hikari Sentai! Maskman! This Sentai contained the first 5-piece giant robot, as well as the prototype for the tradition of the 6th Ranger. This character was known as X1 Mask, after a group of humans betrayed humanity and committed acts of murder. 3 space explorers, later joined by 2 younger people, donned space exploration suits specifically meant to combat the new threat. These people became forever known as Choju Sentai! Liveman! This Sentai was the last to be shown entirely in the Showa era. It was also the first Sentai to celebrate an anniversary, 10th to be exact. Although at the time, Goranger and Jackie Chan, whatever, weren't counted at the time as Super Sentai. And they wouldn't be counted again until 1995 when Ohranger vs. Goranger came out, after Earth's pollution had weakened the fairy magic that sealed away the villainous Boma tribe. The last of the fairies, with the help of a scientist, recruited 5 high school seniors to combat the new threat. They are of magic and science. Kozuku Sentai! Turboranger! This is the first season of Sentai to involve all available Sentai teams at the time. Again, Goranger and Jack-in-the-Box, whatever, weren't counted at the time. It was also the first Sentai to air during the Heisei era. After 5 alien children were separated from their parents by the attacks of the Zone Empire, the robot Arthur G6 took the children to Earth to raise them and train them to fight back. 20 years later, in most places the aliens took on the identities of school teachers, but on the battlefield, they took on a different persona. J.A.K.Q Sentai! Fiveman! This was the first Sentai to have all the team members be siblings, and the first to give them the ability to upgrade their suits to protective armor. Toys! When the alien organization Virem threatens the Earth, 1 soldier and 4 accidental draftees were granted birdonic wave powers in order to fight back, with the technology of the military and the flight of the eagles. They are Chojin Sentai! Jetman! This was the first Sentai to have 3 giant robots on their team, and a video game license. Well, that's all the unadapted Super Sentai. Now, before we go away, I'll briefly talk about some of the stuff that happened afterward. The tradition of the 6th Ranger began in Z-Ranger with the Dragon Ranger Burai. There was a Sentai team in which only one of the suits was used in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Years later, there appeared a character named Aka Red who was the personification of all the Red Rangers' wish for peace. None of these guys appeared. Gokaiger was a far better anniversary celebration than its Power Rangers counterpart, and there was an unofficial parody Sentai that presumably took place in the same world as the mainstream Sentai. I hope you found this video informative. Before we end it, let it be known that there's finally going to be a US DVD release of one of the seasons of Sentai in its original form. That season is Z-Ranger. See you guys around, and remember, toys.